Good Thursday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV from Florida, the internal combustion engine age channel that you can hear the internal combustion engine age running in front of me. Yes, it's the lawn maintenance people. Anybody who lives in these communities gets all this noise. It starts at 7 a.m. Got the crew out here trying to get things all cleaned up, and yeah, how's their day going for them on this overcast day? Pretty crazy on how down in Florida the maintenance guy just never ends. If you're a lawn and grass landscape guy, I'd have to say you do this pretty much 12 months out of the year. Slows down a little bit. So yeah, you can camera on Ice Age TV. The newsman. Am I the newsman? Yeah, I got to think about that self this morning, and I thought, boy, I tell you what, I think my camera needs to be cleaned. Hold on. Yeah, I think that's a little better. What do you think? Anyway, so it's a Thursday morning. Hardly it's Thursday morning already down here in Florida. We've already been down here for a week. That's hard to believe. And rest as we get closer to Christmas Day, and I get going here in my little Florida looking outfit. Isn't like the feeling the weather for the Florida outfit, and way, if you know what I mean, it's kind of the what's the news seems to be talking about how the bad weather. All we're hearing is bad weather for the holiday travel, and the even on Christmas Day they're saying the news, right? The news. We watch the news, we hear the news, and we're hearing that a lot of people may have a white Christmas, and that's what I was thinking about. News. Not exactly what's said. I've never looked up actual definition to see if they have an abbreviation. Not exactly what's said. I thought to myself this morning, boy, oh boy, not that hasn't been going on since mankind has been around to twist the news, but I think more so in our society, people take for granted because we have all this electronic technology that the news is the gospel. I mean, it's the facts. It's pretty incredible to think that we truly live in a society today more than ever. You can put people in front of a camera and they can say things and it's factual. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know most people aren't believing, everything somebody says, but at the same time, boy, oh boy, the news, not exactly what's said. I mean, more than ever, I think here in recent times, and I'll talk about it once again, Elon Musk. And I'm sure some people would say, Elon Musk, this is all just being hyped up and it's not so factual. I would tend to say that conversation, as time progresses, is going to start to kind of come out more of the opposers that don't want to hear, and how one side of the party really abused the social platform to get things their way. And I'm not saying the other side of the party is this perfect party. They're not. I mean, neither one of them. They're a disgrace. Both parties are a disgrace to what they're doing to this country. So if anybody here thinks that I'm just brainwashed to think that one side of the party is better than the other, I'm not here to promote that. I think both parties have serious challenges, and what they're letting this country go through, the havoc. I mean, I think to myself, what's the deal with Ukraine? I mean, sincerely, what is the deal with Ukraine? I mean, I would love to have anybody watch my channel. I have no problem anybody watch my channel and say, hey, look, Mr. Iceman, you're presenting the news incorrectly and not exactly what's said that you think you're hearing. Okay, great. I'd love to learn things. I really do. I'm not this person caught up that I'm some professor, that I'm bigger and better and smarter than you. And don't take it the wrong way, any professors. I'm not saying that you are, but boy, you can't tell me that the professors of the world aren't usually the person that'll try to put you in your place when you try to explain things. So, Ukraine, what is the deal with Ukraine? But do we go down that direction yet? or we talk about car news. And to me, I don't know. The car news, what's going on with the car news besides lots of talk of the electric vehicles? And I don't know if Chevrolet's making a Copa Camaro. Yeah, probably 300 may be available. It won't even be street legal. I mean, so why does Chevrolet throw that out there for advertising, I guess? Once again, I just have kind of been reading general articles, and yeah, it's infinite. It's infinite information on the cars and trucks and vehicles and motorcycles. But the biggest theme you read over and over again from these car journalists is pushing the EV vehicles. The technology of going to the EVs, EV this, EV that, green agenda this. When's Elon Musk going to tell us the news about all of the green agenda that is not exactly what's said? When does Elon go down that path, right? I talked about that yesterday in my video is, wow, when does Elon, uncover more stuff? But once again, I think a lot of people, they don't want to hear that news. I really think that we're at the point that who wants to hear the news? When you think you're so right about something or you go a certain direction, do you want to hear the news that you were so wrong? Yeah, you don't. I mean, you're just going to turn it off. It just click, turn off that conversation, right? So going back to the Ukraine thing, the Ukraine president, the reason I'm bringing this up this morning is because the Ukraine president came to our country. Who paid for that? What Air Force, I'm sure, escorted him here or flew him here. And he came here borderline begging for more money and begging for us to fight a war for him. I mean, sincerely, does anybody see this? I mean, borderline, we are fighting a war with Russia right now. If anybody thinks we're not, you're kidding yourself. Once the Patriot missiles show up, if you don't think that this nut job, Putin puntin' man, isn't going to maybe do something radical, you're kidding yourself. The guy's an ex-KGB agent. Do you think this guy loses in the end? This guy isn't going to lose. I mean, sincerely, this is not good. So to hear that we're giving the Patriot missiles to him, is that correct? That we're not going to put we're borderline, we're fighting the war for Russia because of our technology, and Russia knows this. What's Russia's recourse? I think Russia's recourse is you're going to see a nuke. I think Ukraine's going to be nuked. I mean, what's there to lose for Putin? He's getting away with incredible human crimes. I mean, nobody's going to, what's that going to do to him? I mean, nobody's doing anything. And here's what's just beyond believable for us as this country and us as citizens. Why isn't Europe doing it? Is Europe doing anything? I mean, sincerely, would somebody please reach out to me on my channel and say, oh, yeah, Europe, Germany, France, Italy, England, they're shoveling billions of dollars to Ukraine as well. They're giving them all their military technology. I mean, please, somebody's a military person. Please reach out and say, Iceman, yes, you don't know the news. Not exactly what's said. You're not hearing that part. That Europe actually is very involved in this war, and they're funding Ukraine more than us because this war is in their own backyard, and it's more detrimental to their better well-being than our better well-being, being that the central gas has been cut off from Europe, blah, 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 blah. Can somebody explain that to me? A military person? Hello? What's going on? Why is Joe Biden hugging this guy? Did you see that? This guy came up to the steps of the Capitol, White House yesterday. Joe Biden's putting his arms around him and hugging him. Like, hey, good job, buddy. But the guy looks like a little high school kid when he's standing next to Joe Biden, where he portrays this, I'm here to beg. I'm begging you guys. Would Ukraine not have already been taken over if we weren't even part of this? Why are we part of it? I mean, does anybody know the military maneuvers? What are we doing? What's going on? So the news, not exactly what's said. That's what I'm trying to convey in my channel this morning more than ever. The news, it's beyond believable. And even the point, you hear people all the time comment, I don't listen to news anymore. And what's the underlying message of that? The news is lying to you. The news doesn't mean anything because it's just all lies. It's all just propaganda and agenda. I mean, literally, I run across people all the time. I don't watch the news anymore. It's a waste of time. Yeah, because the underlying message there is that they would witness what I'm talking about, that the news is an agenda to progress things for a certain party. And then the other news channel is an agenda to progress things for that certain party. But both parties, in the end, are running our country into the ground? Are they? I don't know. I mean, it's radical. I haven't had a cup of coffee yet. I don't even know when he died. I gotta find that out. Should have a date on him when he died. What year? What date? Would not be interesting to know. Did he have any kids? I don't think he had any married or had any kids or anything. Yeah, where's the news on him, right? News, it's information. We all look to news to get information. Twitter. I think people looked in Twitter for news information, right? That thing, I decided finally to join up to Twitter the other day. If I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and join up. Never did, never have. And I just thought, yeah, I'll join. But I mean, to me, it's kind of mundane. I don't know. I mean, to me, it's just people spitting out silly things and then attacking one another. I mean, basically, the Twitter thing to me is more of just an attack social platform. I mean, as well as I do. If I got on there and start mouthing off about the EV agenda versus the ICE agenda, the green agenda people will show up and they'll start mouthing off that I'm just an idiot. I mean, you just know how it plays out. But for me, it's just there's so much information. It's too much information. And there's so many followers that you can follow. And just to see, to me, it really is just borderline the hate machine. It's because people that raise their hand to share something that hopefully is going to help others, but then another person claims that person's just a piece of trash, and that person doesn't deserve to get the recognition of making something better. I mean, I haven't even commented on Twitter. I just joined up just to join up because I'm just intrigued to see what goes on between people that get on there and just start talking. And yeah, it's information, but there's a lot of jabbing going on. A lot of people that want something to better themselves. And then, of course, it's the psychological thing where somebody just attack you to make you feel like you're less superior to them and that they're better than you and blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh. But, Lon, I'm assuming his idea is to make Twitter kind of like the YouTube channel, but more, what is Lon doing? For me, what's really interesting about Lon, I've always thought this guy just wrote off as somebody else. That's always been my perception. I've always have felt that Lon was a master magician. That's my gut instinct of who he is. He's just using others to portray himself as the better. I've never have looked at Lon being this mastermind, incredibly individual that creates something out of nothing. But yet he gets such the followers and such the people love him and such to think that he's a genius. But for me, it just seems like he has created his wealth from others' doings and from other believing so strongly in him that he's going to do this and that. I don't know. All I'm trying to convey to you, I've never been a Elon Musk fan. I never have been. I just never have thought that he's just a truly incredibly dynamic person. I can be wrong, and I'll raise my hand. I could be wrong, but for me, this Twitter thing, what in the end, what is going to pan out from Twitter? Does he bankrupt it? I don't know. The guy to raise his hand and be telling people who wants this lousy job, is that how you promote, Twitter? The guy raises his hand. Can you imagine? Hey, why don't we have a poll and let the poll decide if Joe Biden gets to still be the president of the United States? Let's be the Elon Musk mentality. The guy bought a company for $45 billion, and he says to people, hey, if you don't like who I am, you want me to step down, let's take a 12-hour vote, or how long the vote even ran, and let's see what the people say, and I'll abide by what the people say. Well, the vote says for him to step down. Hey, let's do that for Joe Biden. Hey, Elon, call Joe Biden and say, hey, we want you to do the same thing. We're going to give a 24-hour run, and people get to publicly, online, vote on if we want this guy to still be in office or get rid of him. Would he actually do that? Would Joe Biden? Would even Donald Trump even do that? Just saying, any sitting president that has such low statistics and is in a shambles, why wouldn't they raise their hand to say, I'm out, I'm done? Yeah, right. We all know the answer to that. I'm no fool to that. But for Elon, here's a guy who spent a lot of money, and he's now raising his hand. He's telling people that he's ready to step down because he can't handle the position. To me, the underlying message with Elon is he can't handle what he got himself into. I could be so wrong, but the guy's getting tarnished, which I said that. I said that from the beginning. And the people that have Tesla stock, the short sellers, you realize that all the short sellers are having a heyday on Tesla right now? Yes. There's so many people that thought that Tesla would fail. And supposedly this year, the short sellers are making billions off of Tesla. They're jumping up and down because the Tesla stock is tanked. I mean, if you're following the Tesla stock, you've lost your tail this year. So I guess the short sellers, I don't know. Well, I'm not a stock guy. I wish I was. I wish I would have learned that when I was much younger. I wish I would have been more addicted to that than buying cars and trucks and motorcycles. Yeah, right. I wish I had that addiction, but I don't. Never have. That wasn't my passion, but it should have been. But anyways, whole point is for Elon Musk, he's rewarding all the people that thought he'd fail. Yes, by the billions. And so for me, the whole point is, what's the deal with Twitter? What? I mean, okay, so he's exposed on the FBI and the Democratic Party colluding with one another to have things go their way to the perceptions of how people look at things and understand things, and very just devious things. But what's going to happen? I mean, sincerely, for Elon Musk, he spent all this money. Did he spend all this money just to open that door up? I mean, really, what was the purpose of him opening up Pandora's box? And at the end, what's going to happen to all these people? I mean, sincerely, is anything really going to come down? I mean, I'm sincere. Somebody out there that's a legal expert, maybe a politician's watching my channel. Sincerely doubt it. There's nothing for me. There's nothing for them to gain from me to make them more powerful. That's all political figures look for. Is there's a hubnub, and they're going to hang out with the people that are going to enrich them even more by who knows who. So my channel, yeah, right. They ain't going to watch my channel for what? The whole point is, can anybody explain what's going to happen to all these FBI agents that are being exposed, and political figures and key executives and employees of Twitter? That is anything to happen to them that they did devious things to others intentionally to get things done their way? And that's what I was thinking to myself about the Ukraine war. It is so dangerous in life to try to create the future. Very, very dangerous. If anybody's been around long enough, when you try to control the future and create the future, it never works out. It actually backfires and worse things end up happening. And let's just use Ukraine as an example. And I have no idea. I'm not a military person, so I have no idea. But here's the thing. Let's just say that the United States continues to the United States is continuing to fund the Ukraine war. And for Putin man over there that's not happy, and for us to start to escalate the military warfare capability to do even more serious destruction to Russia, and we're creating this, in the end, does Russia nuke Ukraine? So the point is, we're trying to control the war over there that we're not even running, but we're trying to feed a guy that thinks he knows how to beat Russia, but at the same time, wasn't for all the help he's getting, he wouldn't be beating Russia, I don't think. But I could be wrong. Not a military guy. But in the end result is, do we create a nuclear holocaust in Ukraine? Which I think that potential is there because of the sitting powers to be are supporting a war. And then the money grab is there. It's all about the money. I mean, come on. If you're building defense, contract, you're building military stuff, this is a heyday for you. It's a heyday. A part of that stimulus, or part of the new bill, the 1.7 trillion bill, 848 billion goes to the defense, to the military, the defense industry. I don't know if you know that or not. Yes, I mean, look it up. $848 billion of that 1.7 trillion. And here we go. I can't believe the kid and dad are back because they were supposed to go. They got an early start this morning, and dad was going to get a haircut. They got to go take the tire. I don't know if you saw my flat tire video. Check that flat tire video out. The kid changed a flat tire yesterday, and so I can't believe they're back already. They have a bunch of errands to run and things to do. So that's I don't know. Jeez, you can tell. Anyways, so for the $1.7 trillion bill, the GOP, I guess, are really excited because they're getting so much of the defense contract bill. Here they are. Wow.
Dad, guess what?
What?
Popcorn's barber is retiring in February.
Okay. Does that mean you're gonna be cutting his hair? You look awful tired over there.
Well,
You have to get up a little early this
pause the
morning?
video.
Oh, here we go. I'm on my video. And what's going on?
I want to show you something.
Hey, haircut boy, what you doing?
I got a haircut.
He can't hear that well.
Well, he just said he got a haircut. Did you drop the tire off?
No.
Bad news.
Yeah, here comes bad news. We have to barber watch. That's the next thing that's coming, right? See, it's bad news. What's the bad? Well, I guess I'm not going to hear him, right?
Let's see, Julia got the
Oh, well, that's a pause in video, right?
here.
So for me, here we are meddling in Ukraine and Russia at the taxpayers' expense. I mean, here's the thing. Who's paying us back? Is Ukraine going to pay us back? I think we're going to have to be into this Ukraine war when it's all said and done by $500 billion. Maybe $1 trillion. Are they paying us back? I mean, what is going on? This just makes no sense to me. It's for the average citizen's country. And I know people have to go to work, take care of a family. You just don't have time to play this political game. What are you going to do? As a citizen, what are you going to do? You're going to go down, you're going to drive to the White House today and stop this bill? Not going to happen. Because you elected officials that you thought had brains on how to help make correct decisions, but the congressmen and senators you've elected, pretty obvious that they don't. I mean, beyond believable of how you go elect these officials that you think they're going to go do something for you. And what do? They just get caught up in the swamp, as they call it. Oh my gosh, it's all political this morning, right? Oh, here we go. Its phones are ringing. Oh, the distractions. Yeah. I've lost a lot of time here, so yeah, it's going to be hard to kind of keep this conversation going this morning. But anyways, you get these deep thoughts and these conversations, and people start bugging you, and it just totally takes away the whole focus for me to continue on my path of saying things about where we are, what's going on, about how the elected officials and the money that's being spent and blah 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 and da 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 dee dee dee. Yeah, and I think to myself, the news. I mean, it's even when Jesus was born. Did people believe the news? I mean, think about that. Here's a special Sunday coming up for Christmas, and when the news was spread that Jesus was born and he'd be the Savior and all that good stuff, and that a lot of the people didn't believe that news, and even to today, a lot of people don't believe that news, and so not exactly what's said. Is that the new saying for news, because of just how twisted it is? Is it that twisted? Am I just kind of embellishing? Am I kind of like, oh, so here's something that is an eye opener? And even for me, I'm like, I have a hard time believing this. But you realize that the U.S. is the number one producer of oil right now in the world? Yes. We're outproducing Saudi Arabia and Russia. Yeah, that's hard to believe. I had to read that article a few times. So yes, the United States, and you got to think to yourself, there's been so much green agenda and so much of the city administration that wants to shut down the fossil fuel, the domestic oil here, but at the same time, and I've mentioned this many times, it seems like the oil industry is awful quiet. It just seems to me, especially the barrel of oil up to 120. I was saying many times that the oil executives are loving this stuff. I mean, the oil industry is not complaining. They're making some of the biggest profits ever. And that's the irony is, it's Trump is in office. Everybody claimed that he's the money monger guy. And everybody got rich, especially the oil industry after Donald Trump, but they went broke under Donald Trump because the pandemic. We had minus $30 a barrel oil. And then this guy Joe Biden comes in, and and the irony of it is that this guy, the big business, has made more money than they've ever made in modern times. And the oil industry as well. But I thought Joe Biden was all about the hammer the oil industry and get rid of the oil industry, and we should have much more, better, cleaner environment and blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing. So the oil industry here, apparently, so for us, what they're saying, this is from Reuters, however you pronounce that magazine or newspaper that's on the internet. So that's where it came from, for anybody to double check it. So apparently we gobble up 20 million barrels a day. Wow, we're the biggest consumer and user of oil. And then at the same time, we are one of the biggest exporters right now. We're exporting 3 million barrels a day. And we could possibly, next year in 2023, be producing 12 million barrels per day. We could be at our highest production ever of this domestic oil production of 12 million barrels a day. And we import 7 million barrels a day. So you kind of think those numbers, it's like 12 million plus 7 is 19 million, but then we export 3 million. So that would then be 14, it would be 16 million, but we use 20 million barrels a day. So where's the other 4 million barrels of oil coming from? It's kind of, to me, that's where those numbers kind of get confusing. But here we're one of the biggest oil producers in the world. But all we hear every day through the news, not exactly what's said, is that the oil industry is in financial, challenges because of this sitting administration, and they're shutting down, refineries, and they can't get new oil leases to produce oil. But at the same time, the oil industry is having the best record yet. I mean, does this make any sense? I mean, am I reading something that was written 20 years ago or something? And because Russia's off, Russia can't be, what they're saying is Russia's unreliable, but hello, Russia can't even, Venezuela is going through, havoc. The list goes on and on and on of other world oil producing countries that don't have their act together, but we do. And then they talk about the natural gas, that we're one of the biggest natural gas exporters. Hello. I mean, is anybody, but yet the news portrays it that this country's in a total lockdown of fossil fuels are done and it's all be a green agenda. Wow. I mean, who can listen to the news anymore? I mean, sincerely, I don't. I mean, people can say to me, I don't. I mean, I really do not sit around at nighttime. I mean, okay, so there was just a major earthquake. I didn't even know that, so my brother brought it up yesterday. Hey, there's a 6.2 major earthquake over in California. Did you know that? I'm like, I didn't know that. I didn't know. I mean, I like to watch the business news and kind of see what's going on in the markets. And yeah, you follow those news. You believe those news. Right. Does anybody remember how the news was a year ago? Oh, yeah, it'll be all great. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? But all I know is the stock market not Donald Trump. I think then Elon Musk will be portrayed as Donald Trump. And so if anybody understands that underlying message, has that guy been beat to crap and beat to the ground? That all they do is tarnish guy all day long? Isn't it amazing how they had one guy in office and all day long, all the personality shows, The View, everybody would be tarnishing this guy. And I'm not here to promote Donald Trump. I'm just saying, all they did is tarnish the heck out of this guy 24/7 all day long. This guy, Joe Biden, sitting in office, pretty quiet. Guy's perfect, apparently. I mean, the guy, I know there's some definitely things that are talked about, but it just seems like the general media, they just kind of, the guy's a beautiful man, a great man, but whatever. How's that pocketbook feeling? I mean, think it through. Donald Trump was accused of being the money monitor guy and getting in bed with all the big business so he could make record profits. It didn't happen. It's happened all under Joe Biden's term at your expense. For everybody who voted Joe Biden in, you're spending more money you've ever spent in modern times for everything that you own and do. I mean, does this make any sense? Remember, create the force. Remember I was telling you? When you try to create something and you force something, it never works. It bites you in the butt at the end. So think about it. The Democratic Party and Twitter and the FBI all get together to make sure that people thought that the other guy was a whack job and the new guy is a better guy to do the job. But in the end, we're all paying the most for anything you want to have in your lifetime. Yeah, how's that all playing out, right? Yeah, it's all political. I get it. Anyways, I'm getting texts, I'm getting messages. It's just too much distraction. It's one of those days, too much going on. I gotta cut it off. I'm done. I'm gonna cut it there. So watch the news today. So not exactly what's said. You'll see what I'm talking about. You already know what I'm talking about. Is that the new word? And hey, Christmas is coming up, and wow, is everybody in the Christmas spirit? Is everybody excited? Yeah, this will be the first Christmas for our family we're not exchanging gifts. Yeah, why? Well, for a lot of family members, it's been a challenging year. Yeah, I mean, how many other families this year are not exchanging gifts and saying, you know what, inflation got us? I mean, yeah, sincerely, we've had some incredible Christmases, and I have handed out tons of money to lots of people in Christmases. And this year, the family made the decision, not me. They said we just don't want to do that. You know, we just don't want to. We don't want to do so. You know, money's tight for everybody. Wonder why that happened. As we hand out billions to Ukraine, in our own country, we have major problems. Major problems. You know, the homeless, drug addictions, border policies. You know, I mean, it's just. Does this make any sense? The news, right? I'm the news guy now, right? Hey, Iceman's turning to the Ice News. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching my channel, and hope everybody has a safe day. God bless, and stay tuned.